everyone else is thinking.
I'm dedicated to it. I can't be stopped.
Ah, yes, celebrate the mystical flight of the arrow. Do not underestimate what I just talked about. If you get into archery, all of a sudden you will be healthier. You will be more tuned in, and the more you're tuned in, the more you're cognizant of your each step in life. Is it a step that is stealthy and conscientious, that is benefiting you and your family's quality of life, law and order? Does it benefit your neighbors and your fellow man in the good earth? Are you a hunter, a fisherman, and a trapper to create the cleanest air, soil, and water in the world this side of maybe some marsh in Norway? Though I think we got them beat, because hunters, fishermen, and trappers, they support clean air, soil, and water production by managing wildlife balanced to maximize their carrying capacity habitat from which quality air, soil, and water is derived. Are you kidding me? So go to hunternation.org, please. We're going to have it on the screen every few minutes. Bing, bing, bing. Hunternation.org and huntthevote.org. We rallied millions, I think tens of millions. We literally have the names and email addresses and phone numbers of tens of millions of conservation families who previous to 2024 didn't vote. That's painful words coming out of my mouth. But we contacted them and said, you believe in God, family, country, law and order, private property rights, accountability for our hard-earned tax dollars, law and order, all that radical American dream, self-evident truth. And we got them to vote like never before. And I give you a real commander-in-chief, Donald Trump. Shemaine and I, have I sent you guys the pictures? Shemaine and I were with Donald Trump and great, great patriotic hellraisers over was it Tuesday? Is that what it was? Tuesday? What is it? Thursday? It's crazy. I've been splitting wood. I've been splitting hairs. I just split a hair in that arrow is literally dead center in the bullseye. That's my life. See that arrow right in that orange square? That's a Fred Bear mystical flight of the arrow. My point is that I'm just a goofy guitar player. But I have been clean and sober for 76 years. So the wheels that turn efficiently. It's like I invented the Department of Gonzo Efficiency. DOGE, the Department of Gonzo Efficiency. So please go to hunternation.org, because if the conservatives that are ultimately identified as constitutional conservationists, did you get that? Constitutional conservationists, conservatives, got up and voted this last year, and now we have a real commander-in-chief, not to be confused with the devil freak, mentally ill goofball and his family, Joe Biden. What an embarrassing chapter. We had friends at Mar-a-Lago from Japan and Austria and Germany and France. The French wanted to do an interview with me because somewhere deep in their soul they want to all be Ted Nugent. But they're not allowed to be. They have their middle fingers are against the law, and there's nothing more important than a middle finger on fire. So, celebrating the mystical flight of the arrow with Dark Horse Archery down there in Corpus Christi, and Britton's Archery in Tarpon Springs, George Britton in Tarpon Springs, Florida, and Bruce Cull at the Dakota Archery and Sports in Yankton, South Dakota, Shootback Sporting Good in Jackson, Michigan. There's so many great archery stores. I wish I could name them all. But and there's the Outhouse in Waco, Texas. There's so many great, but the Dark Horse Archery. My point being is that I do not stumble on syllables, because I'm able, eager, willing, and effective in representing the truth, logic, and common sense that brings me quality of life. So we raised hell in the last election. It was too big to rig. And the great Donald Trump, Martha put on this event, and gazillionaires showed up. Guys that came from China and Korea and Japan and from around the world, from Mexico, who had nothing because they live in tyrannical hell zones. And they wanted self-evident truth written down in a unique and unprecedented document: the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, Declaration of Independence, the middle finger on fire, all the important quality of life foundations. And they came with nothing and turned into billionaires because they had a vision and a work ethic, and they respected the freedom that is unique to America. And Donald Trump ultimately, quintessentially represents we the people demanding constitutional accountability and tax torching accountability from Fedzilla. So we have a wonderful guest on today. He's coming on. It's U.S. Marshal Service. I got all these friends in the U.S. Marshal: Lenny DePaul, Tom Smith, Craig Kane, Ryan Guay, Jody Nidifer. I have so many friends that are warrior heroes. I'm not a warrior hero. I'm kind of like a hellraiser, like with a middle finger A10 warthog arsenal. And this great U.S. Marshal Service, Robert Lodegar, blew the whistle on constitutional violations and corruption and abuse of power in the U.S. Marshal Service. And because he blew the whistle, which, by the way, the only good human being is a whistleblowing human being. When you see Nazis putting Jews on the train, grab the Luger, shove it up their ass, and blow their Nazi brains out, literally or figuratively, whichever is most convenient. So whistleblowers are the only hope for real justice and fair play and freedom in America. And this U.S. Marshal, Robert Lodegar, I hope I'm Lodegar. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So on behalf of the warriors of law enforcement, which are everywhere, I'm United States Marshal Service. The Secret Service took away my holster. I took away my pocket knife. I took off my belt tool. I took off my Glock. I took off my other Glock. I took off the magazines. I took off the other magazines. I took off my folding knife. I think I had a tweezers. I took everything off, but I still kept my leather. And I love the Secret. They were great. I love you guys and gals. But they took my leather holster. They just didn't want anybody to see a holster in case I lifted my hands up going hallelujah. Or like Elon Musk when I did a salute, spread the love. They call it Heil Hitler. How stupid are the Democrats? They're hysterical. I miss Sam Kinison and all these funny comedians. Richard Pryor's gone, but we got the Democrat Party. They're hysterical. So anyhow, they took my leather wallet, but they gave me a Louisville Slugger. I'm going to send you the picture. Ryan and John, I'm sending you a picture of me with all these great heroes of freedom, where they gave us Louisville Sluggers. The great Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is my new best friend, by the way. I'll send this picture to you, put it in post-production. So they gave me a Louisville Slugger, but they took away my leather. I love you guys. But then Donald Trump came in and looked at Shemaine and went, "My goodness, you are so beautiful tonight." And I went, "You think?" And he said, "Ted, Uncle Ted, thank you. You're doing a great job." We had a great, great connection with the incredible warrior General Michael Flynn and his sister Mary. Mike Tyson was awesome. There's so many guys, I wish I could remember everybody's name, but they had these heroes of the military that were Lloyd Austin, you punk. Mark Milley, you treasonous little fat pig. What happened to you guys? When did you wipe your ass with the Constitution that you took a sacred oath to? Lloyd Austin. You think you might have got your gig because of DEI? And you, Mark Milley, what happened to you? You were a warrior at one point and then you turned. That's why we're getting rid of your failing, violating asses. But they gave awards there at Mar-a-Lago to these heroes of the military that had sacrificed so much. And that's like Robert Lodegar, the U.S. Marshal, who's coming on with a story where they're railroading him. A so-called justice system that would charge Kyle Rittenhouse with murder when he's on film defending himself from an armed attacker. Or the great Sergeant Dan Perry in Austin, with witnesses of law enforcement that saw him shoot a guy attacking him with a rifle. Self-defense. And they still charged him with murder. And Daniel Penny in New York, stopping an engineered recidivistic monster, evil, dangerous man, threatening to kill people on the subway. Daniel Penny stopped him, and he was charged with a crime, charged with murder. and I'm in touch with the attorneys, and they exonerated him because just like the bodega owner that was attacked by a paroled felon, a monster, evil, violent criminal, and they charged the bodega owner for See what's happened? So the basic battle cry of the Ted Nugent Real America Voice Spirit Campfire is stand up and speak up. And that's what U.S. Marshal Robert Ledegar did. That's what Daniel Penny did. That's what Ted Nugent did. That's what Donald Trump does. That's what my friends do. That's what all my blood brothers and my fellow inner circle, I got such great friends that stand up and they don't back down. That's why I'm taking on the Texas Parks and Wildlife, because they're power abusing criminals. The Michigan Department of Natural Resources, they said that baiting was dangerous and will spread disease, but now you can bait if you buy a license to bait. So you can buy a license to spread disease because they were lying, just like the Democrats were lying. Oh, he's a fascist and a Nazi. They were lying. They're all liars. Illinois Department of Natural Resources, liars. Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, liars. California Fish and Game, liars. Only the guilty need to feel guilty, and there's a bunch of liars squirming out there because they know who I'm talking about. Stand up against these punks. They work for we the people. I'm their boss, and they don't like hearing from their boss. That's why we're demanding constitutional accountability for our hard-earned tax dollars with Department of Government Efficiency. And you know who's squawking against spotlighting fraud? Fraudsters. All of them. They're all guilty. They're all nasty anti-American monsters. I'll be right back.